Chapter 7 Making Monsters. Early the next morning, as she was getting ready for school, Franny pulled down a copy of A Treasury of Monster Making Techniques and turned to chapter on transformations. In particular, she studied the part that explained how to transform a little girl made a scientist into something else. Trans, Franny's book on monster making. Carefully cut on the dots lines on just the next two pages. Flip the sections back and forth and see what the recipes calls for the construct each particular monster you create. Warning: we assume no responsibility if you actually create a real monster and it destroys your city and eats your stuff. Recipe: Wild springs, perfume, cool cloth, hit song, old pants, daddy's shoes. Recipe: shampoo, blush, lipstick, zombie body, stinky vest, wands, balloons, popcorn, cotton candy. Recipe: zombie head, lightning, roach butt, spider legs, dance lessons, chunky heels. I know just what to do, she said, and she began combining honey, vanilla jelly beans, and pink soda. She poured the formula into a tall, pretty glass decorated with a happy sheep holding a puppy wearing diapers. Ugh, she said. How cute can you get? She put the mixture into one of the inventions and programmed in her notes. The machine began to hum and shake and buzz and bake. And then finally it baked just like a microwave. When your microwave popcorn is ready. Franny gazed at the potion. She held her nose and drank it. She ran to the mirror and watched the strange transformation take place. Franny transformed. Carefully cut on the dotted lines on just the very next page. Flip the sections and watch in horror how Franny transformed. yet. When Franny came downstairs to breakfast, her mom took one look at her and dropped her toast. Her dad choked on his coffee. Her brother's eyes almost popped out of his head. Franny, her mother said, "You look so nice." Franny did nice. Her hair was cute. Her dress was pretty. Her shoes were adorable. She didn't really look like a Franny anymore, but she looked nice, kind of. Formula, jelly and peanut butter between white bread slices. "Thanks, Mom," she said. "Here's the description of something I'd like prepare for lunch. It's strange and horribly exotic, but I'd appreciate it if you could give it a try." Her mom looked at the recipe that Franny had given her. "This says jelly and peanut butter between white bread slices," she said. "I'm pretty sure I can make this, Franny. I've been making it for years." "Excellent," Franny said, and she rubbed her hands together in a mad scientist way. Chapter 8. A Transformed Franny. Before school, Franny met some of the girls from her class. Franny had a modified Thumbelina with her. Now, Thumbelina played happy music and squatted, performed and glitter and came with her own nail polish and a rainbow-colored unicorn with a long, tall you could braid. The other girls loved Thumbelina and crowded around her. Franny thought it was fun playing with the girls, but deep down she missed the old Thumbelina. At lunchtime, Franny pulled out her PBJ sandwich. The peanut butter had been artfully smoothed, and the jelly had been applied equally from one corner to the other. The bread was so blazingly white that Franny needed sunglasses to look at it. Her mom had even trimmed the crust, and the other kids, nothing this, smiled with approval. Franny took a bite and found it to be totally, completely, and incredibly averagely uninteresting and no big deal. She had expected so much more, but her experiment seemed to be working, so she finished the mush sandwich. At recess, Franny suggested that they play softball. She consulted her notes quickly and added, I think it's best we use a ball instead of a school or giant skid ball or something gruesome like that. One other kids were a bit puzzled, but they agreed. Franny had fun playing with them, but deep down she knew the game would have been much more fun with a skull or giant squid eyeball. After school, the kids all said goodbye, and a few even asked her to come over to their houses to play and play. It was great to be asked, but Franny had to hurry straight home and analyze her day. She was happy the other kids liked her, even if it was only a transformed her. Chapter 9. Lunch doesn't agree with me. The next day at school, while the kids were doing their math problems, Mrs. Shelley took Franny over to one side and talked to her. How's the experiment going? She asked. It's great. I understand that, and I think we are becoming friends. They seem to like me better if I just go along with the things they like. Are you sure that's for the best? Mrs. Shelley asked. How's the experiment going? She asked. It's great, I understand them, and I think we are becoming friends. They seem to like me better if I just go along with the things they like. Are you sure that's for the best? Mrs. Shelley asked. Well, that's what the date seemed to suggest. Franny said and showed Mrs. Sally some graphs to back it up. But I like the real you, Mrs. Sally was about to continue when a piercing scream tore through the room. Tear through the room. The trash can, a little girl shrieked, is moving. Franny's mad scientist brain raced. That was the trash can in which she had dumped her crab ravioli in pumpkin sauce 2 days ago, but an old lunch all by itself was not enough to start to paranormal reaction. Paranormal reaction. When who else put something in that can? Franny said. I put out my gum in there, one girl said. I threw a pair of old gum shoes in there, another boy said. I saw the janitor dump some trashy in there, another girl said. Ugh, said Franny. That was close. Well, as long as nobody put any unstable industrial waste in there, we should be fine. Oh yeah, said one little boy. I forgot I put some unstable industrial waste in there. gadgets, gadgets. Franny shouted. That is the exact formula for a giant monster's fiend. The other kids looked at her. They looked stared, not just for the mention of a giant monster's fiend. Although the prospect of a giant monster's fiend was no comfort, they were also afraid of Franny. They were looking at her the way they used to before they had become her good friends. I mean, Franny stammered. That's what I would think. Uh, if I was a weird mad science type little girl, which of course I'm not, they all smiled at her again. Just then, the trash can erupted like a volcano as the smoke settled. The kids saw, for the first time, the type of giant monstrous fiend that a mad scientist type girl would have predicted. Chapter 10. That's a new jack-o'-lantern. The giant monster fiend stood there, chewing gum and breathing angrily. Its head was a pumpkin, and its body looked like a crab's. It was wearing the old shoes, and it was just dripping with industrial waste. Franny hoped it would just jump out the window and go away. And to her surprise, the pumpkin crab monster jumped out the window and went away. Unfortunately, it grabbed Mrs. Sally before he left. With a crash and a scream, the pumpkin crab monster and her teacher were gone. The kids just stood there. They didn't know how to help. A few tried crying, a few tried screaming, one tried wetting his pants, although later on he admitted he had no idea why he thought that might help. Some of Franny's new friends hugged her and shrieked, but Franny didn't shriek. Franny thought. Out the window, the pumpkin crab monster was climbing the flagpole with Mr. Shelley. There was no way that Mrs. Shelley was going to get away from that monster thing. It was holding her tight and it was climbing higher and higher. Franny looked at her friends. She really liked them, and she was happy they liked her. She had hoped they would always be her friends, but still she knew what she had to do. Franny reached into her backpack and pulled out a vial. It said antidote on it. And, oh, guys, she said gently, if you all get your lunches, I think I know what you might be able to do. The kids ignored her. They just ran around in little circles, getting more and more scared and confused. Guys, really, I think I know what we need. Franny spoke a little louder this time, but they still ignored her. We need a fireman, one girl said. We need a superhero, one boy said. We need a dry pants, said one. No, who? You know who. Franny stood up outside. Lightning cracked. What do you need? She said. Is a mad scientist, which I am. She uncracked the antidote and drank it. She began to cough and sputter and spit. She fell over the ground and scrunched down in a little ball. She stood up and felt herself return to normal. Franny, the little girl, made the scientist wooze back. Chapter 11. It's mad science time. Franny looked at the kids. They looked even more afraid of her now than they ever had before. She thought about trying to be sweet or less scary, but that just wasn't going to get things done. Those do as I command. Do as I command, she said in her most scary made scientist voice. Go get your lunches. The kids stopped running in circles and ran to get their lunches. Mad scientists, even when they are only 4 feet tall, can be very persuasive. Put the bread on in one pile. Put the bread in one pile and the lunch meat in another, she barked. The kids did as they were told and quickly disassembled their sandwiches. Franny was busy examining the bottom of the trash can. I think there's just enough of this stable industrial waste left to do the trick. Franny worked fast. She told the kids exactly how to arrange the lunch meat and how to get the bread ready. They were afraid, but they did what she said, and they did it quickly. Being the only mad scientist around, she was the expert on unstable industrial waste, so she took care of that personally. Then Franny pulled a needle and thread from her backpack. This will require absolute silence, she said, and the kids watched her begin stitching the lunch meat together. Franny walked quickly as the kids watched in terror, occasionally hanging her additional slices of salami or bologna when she so instructed. They knew they were watching something not of this work, something that no human eyes had ever seen before, and in that moment the pants wig decided to let loose one more time. Chapter 12. Him, I am. Finally, Franny walked solemnly across the room and waved snips of him and smears of mustard off her hands in the sink. She sighed a deep, satisfied sigh and turned to gaze on her creation. There, standing motionless, there, standing motionless in the middle of the classroom, was a giant monster thing made entirely of glistening, delicious bologna, salami, pickled loaf, and ham. The time had come to provide this creature with the awesome power source it would need to come alive. Franny grasped its salami nose and slid two batteries up its nostrils. Awaken, she commanded. The creature's eyes slowly opened. It glowed and looked at Franny. The kids clung to one another in fear. The flag paw, Franny ordered, and the creature began walking stiffly toward the wall. With a mighty punch, it smashed its way through the headed outside. Brother, brother, Franny yelled, and the kids, following Franny's plan, began pushing the pole of bread over to the base of the flagpole. The lunch meat creature grabbed the pole and shook it. Miss Shelley screamed, and the kids grasped. Shake harder, Franny commanded. The lunch meat crate shook and shook until finally the pumpkin crab monster trapped Mrs. Shelley. Chapter 13. The Final Inning. Franny watched calmly as Mrs. Shelley fell toward the ground, screaming. Then, with the loudest poof sound anybody had ever heard, Mrs. Shelley fell right into the big squishy pile of white bread, completely unharmed. Franny turned to the lunch meat creature. Now, my lunch meat nation, go get that pumpkin-headed crab. The lunch meat creature grabbed the flagpole tightly and pulled until bologna-flavored sweat dripped off its forehead. Finally, with a monstrous groan, the lunch meat creature ripped the flagpole right out of the ground, causing a very angry pumpkin crab monster to fall and hit the pavement with a ground-shaking crash. The pumpkin crab monster got to its feet and growled. It began stomping toward the kids. It was almost on top of them when Franny, the only kid that did not look worried, calmly whistled. Suddenly, a cloud of bats flew down from the sky and grabbed the pumpkin crab monster by the arms. "Batter up," she said. The bats flew as fast as they could while the pumpkin crab monster, and they headed right for the lunch meat creature, who had the flagpole up on its shoulder. They headed right for the lunch meat creature, who had the flagpole up on its shoulder. The bats dropped their burden just in time for the lunch meat creature to bring the pole around like a giant baseball bat and connect with the pumpkin crab monster as if it were a giant, stinky softball. With a loud crack, it went hurtling off into the sky, never to be seen or heard from again. "Home run!" shouted Franny. Hurtling off. Then Franny turned around and saw the shocked and horrified kids huddled around an equally shocked and horrified Mrs. Shirley. They looked more scared of her than ever. Franny had the sad, sinking feeling that had saved the day, but had lost all of her friends. Lost to Franny had the sad, sinking feeling that she had saved the day, but had lost all of her friends. Chapter 13. Easy come, easy go. I could probably take the lunch meat creature apart and make your sandwiches again. Franny offered weakly. "And sorry about the flagpole, Mrs. Shelley," Franny said, "and about the wall. My lunch meat creature smashed through. Sorry about your pancakes, she said to the boy who had wet his pants and who was now getting pretty tired of people talking about it. The kids all just stood there trembling. They didn't say a thing. Franny turned away and walked home, sadder and lonelier than ever before. Chapter 15. Back to the grind. The next day, Franny went to school as herself. There was no reason to pretend anymore. The kids were afraid of her and probably always would be. Worse yet, Mrs. Shelley was probably afraid of her now too. Franny opened the door to her classroom slowly. Suddenly, a giant cheer went up from the kids inside. Hooray for Franny! They yelled, Hooray! 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 Franny looked around stunned. The kids were all hugging her and thanking her for saving them. Thank you, Mrs. Shelley said and hugged her closest to her. Franny was shocked. She fumbled over her words. You're welcome. Your master fixed the flagpole and the wall, Mrs. Shelley said, and it did such a great job. The principal wants to hire it to work here. The lunchmeat monster waved and grinned proudly. You are the coolest, Franny, the kid shouted. You are not scared of me? Franny asked. Well, it would be hard not to be a little scared. I mean, you didn't make a monster out of cold cuts, one girl said. But still, you are our friend, and that makes it all, okay? Franny said. Yeah, I am your friend, just the way I am, just the way you are, friends. Chapter 16. Weird, but I still like them. They didn't always like the same things, but they were all still friends after that. The other girls decided to Shamboliana and Ojette actually were pretty fun. And Franny learned how to enjoy an occasional peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And together they figured out a way to play softball with both kinds of bats. It was an unusual friendship, but a great end. And considering how experiments often end up for made scientists, Franny thought this one had gone pretty darn well.